welcome back to Happy Apple Core Homestead. It's August and we're going to do another garden tour. If you haven't checked out last month's, the July garden tour, make sure you check that out so you can see the massive difference between then and now. A lot has changed in the garden, a lot of work has been done, but we are at peak harvest season, so there is still a lot of work to be done in the very near future. The days are very long. If you are growing a big garden, you know how much work it is this time of year. Rewarding work, but long hours. Why don't we head out and check out the garden? We will start in the greenhouse. We just have tomatoes growing in here. They're pretty happy. They are not staked, so they're kind of growing all over the place. And I'm just gonna let them do that. Here we are entering the gate of the garden. And we'll start over here. This is a giant mallow, which is technically growing in a pot, but it's sitting in my raspberry trough. And there are still raspberries growing in here. The grass is very, very long. I have not been out here to mow. Nobody's done any weed eating or anything like that. So snakes are kind of a thing. This trough here is blueberries and rosemary and weeds. Got quite a few weeds in there. I have not had a chance to do any of my weeding. The rosemary is really happy. And we've got lots of blueberries. And my irrigation system is being taken over by the grapes. And holy moly, you guys. Look at these grapevines. They are so bushy that you cannot even walk the path. This is my path. There is no path. I'll be able to show you a little bit better from the other side, around the back of the garden. Last month we had lots of peas all along here, and of course they're done now, which leaves us with the jalapeno plants that I've had planted in the front, and they are happy to have some space and some sunlight. We've got some volunteer mallow plants down there as well. I have been pulling those out, wanting to make sure that the jalapenos have plenty of room to grow. This one has a tiny little fruit getting started. I'll show you some of the others. Some other ones have lots of really big fruit on them. Some calendula volunteers, very pretty. There's a jalapeno in there though, down there. Probably not getting enough sunshine, so I need to pull these flowers out. I was just gonna give them a little bit more time. They're so pretty. Check that out. This is another raspberry bush, and you can hardly tell where it ends and the grass begins because, again, I've not done any mowing out here, and I really need to. Spider season is beginning, so coming out here in my tennis shoes, I get spiders crawling up my legs, get snakes running around me. Still raspberries growing. I am coming out and harvesting the raspberries and the blueberries every day. It's still getting quite a lot of them. On this side of the trellis, we have jalapenos, and on the other side, there's some feverfew volunteers and some carrots. My carrots did not germinate well this year. Here is a comfrey volunteer that I keep pulling out and it keeps coming back. So you guys, if you want to grow comfrey, it's an amazing thing to have. If you have a space outside of your main garden to plant it, I would recommend it. This is the rhubarb. I don't do anything with it when it's hot. Back there, I'm not going to get you up close, but those are the pots that I had my garlic in. And you know, they didn't do as well in the pots. And I'm not sure if it's because my stock is so old that I used to plant, or they just don't like growing in pots that well. It's usable, but it's just not as good as if it was in the main bed. Here's the yarrow. I have been harvesting some of it. The flowers are very pretty. And here's a close-up of the leaves. Here we have the giant Colombian thornless blackberry, which after it dies down for the season, I will be removing it and planting it somewhere else on my property, not in my garden. But the berries are delicious and they're huge. I'm gonna back up just a little bit. This here was all Yukon Gold potatoes, as was that bed there. We have harvested them, and I'm going to talk to you more about potatoes in a little bit. The comfrey has grown back all the way. The pollinators love it. And down here, there's a honeybee. Not sure if you can see the honeybee. Happy little honeybee down there. And that's lemon balm, it being kind of taken over by the comfrey. Lots of bees over here. More raspberries. They are winding down, but we're still getting a lot of really good fruit. Enough that I have to harvest it every day. These are the strawberries, and they are pretty much done. I think I'm gonna get a couple more. There is a flower here and some strawberries coming on, but maybe one or two. They're outliers, not getting a lot really. All of the peas have been removed. Got a ton this year, very happy about that. And here is a more established jalapeno plant. And also still flowering. Rhubarb that's just chilling out. This is bergamot. And I do need to harvest it. It's about to flower. The flowers are so gorgeous. I think I have some in another place where I can show you what the flowers look like. This is chamomile, and my chamomile is done. Technically, it's perfectly fine to harvest it, but I've harvested as much as I need. And most of this plant is just done. So when it starts looking like this, you know that its days are numbered. All along here we have more peppers. And some of these peppers are actually bell peppers, lunchbox bells, I think is what I planted. I never did end up covering my blueberries, and I've actually had like 3 times more blueberries than I ever have had. So that's good news for me, and the birds have gotten a few, but it's really not been a big deal. There's more blueberries here. And peppers all along here. So I have a funny story for you about potatoes. If you remember in my July video, there was a big potato plant right here, which is why there's no jalapenos there. So I just wanted to let the potatoes grow. An interesting story. So I prayed for 2 years worth of potatoes, and I planted accordingly. And God was listening, because not only am I getting at least 2 year supply of Yukon Golds, I haven't even harvested all of them yet. I'll show you the ones that I'm curing at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. But when I was digging these up, I discovered that they were absolutely ginormous russet potatoes. Now keep in mind, I haven't grown a russet potato for 8 years. And so there was just 8 gallons of giant russet potatoes right here and in one other spot over there. Pretty unbelievable, pretty amazing. Now, I don't can russet potatoes, but they're really good to eat. I love twice baked potatoes, and we will be using it for that purpose. Some more peppers, lots of flowers. Very pretty. Here's some more blueberries. These blueberries are big. They're big ones. I don't remember what variety these are. Alright, that looks like I might have caught a vole, but every time I come out here and this little plunger is down, there's never a vole in there. They just come and they kick the dirt because they know, they understand my shenanigans. So here's your opportunity. Trigger warning. I'm going to pull this out. If you want to fast forward 5 seconds, go ahead. Otherwise, we'll see if I got a vole. I did not. Those stinkers. They got my number, you guys. But they're really not causing a whole lot of damage. I haven't had hardly any vole damage. There's evidence that they're here, but not a lot of damage. I have been keeping up on using the traps, though. I think maybe this entire season I've caught, I don't know, 10 or 11 voles. Not too bad, really. Here are some more blueberries. Lots of blueberries on here. Check that out, you guys. Look at all those berries. This area here, again, with the jalapenos, I'm hoping I get a ton of them. Pretty excited to have a lot of pickled jalapenos to put back in my pantry. These are raspberries that are done and also not doing that great. Here's some more blueberries. And now we can see a little bit more of the grape situation. The grapes go all the way down. This one here at the back of the garden is a himrod grape, which is a seedless green table grape. They're very good. They're sweet. And then the middle two, which you cannot even really differentiate right now, are Concord grapes. And then the one all the way by the front of the garden is a Catawba, which, unless we have a long, warm, dry summer, those are not going to ripen up. But it has been so far a long, warm, dry summer. See if I can get in here and show you some of these grapes. They're definitely not ready to eat yet, but we've got a ton of them. They're looking pretty good. All right, let's head back the way we came and go down the center of the garden. Okay, we'll go this way first. Check out some of these peppers. Nice big pepper there. And the back side of that other trellis is all jalapenos as well. Here in this bed we have cauliflower that's going to seed. I'll be seed saving. I think I'm gonna walk this way. I didn't bring my spider stick with me, so I have to pay attention to where I'm going. We've got oregano in here, chickweed, which is definitely done. I'll get you close to the oregano. This is the chickweed, which is done. I'm actually shocked that it's still flowering this late in the year. This is sage, and it's ready to harvest. I should get out here and do that. I think this is a dinosaur kale. I don't remember. I didn't plant that on purpose. It came in my package of broccoli. And the broccoli seeds are looking great. We do have an aphid problem over here. which is entirely my fault. Aphids are actually really easy to control if you stay up on them and get them sprayed down, but I didn't, and so my bad. Here's what's left of my cabbages. They're giant, and I'm probably going to eat some of them and feed some to my chickens. Got some really beautiful marigolds still going strong. And here is where I had my celery that has all been harvested. Normally I don't harvest my celery this early, but again, with my aphid problem. Okay, and this bed all had Yukon Gold potatoes. My pumpkins have jumped ship, and now they're all the way through the aisle and starting to grow in this bed too. But I'm excited to have pumpkins. I haven't had pumpkins in a couple years, and I need some. They're really good for the chickens, and I like pumpkin pie. Here are the few carrots that actually did grow. And some of them are too close together. I'm not super worried about it though. Here we have our cucumbers. I have been harvesting them. Actually, my last video was on making dill pickles. I made some dill pickles last week. This week is sweet pickles. I'm gonna make some relish. And there's onions, Cortland onions growing in the middle. Oh, but here is my cucumber, and they're all different sizes. So we've got small, we've got medium, we've got little tiny baby ones, and then we got a granddaddy down there. Look at that, look how big that is. Here's it compared to my hand. Here is the corn, which of course I'm going to have to hand pollinate because I didn't grow enough, and not for the lack of trying, I promise you that. Here's a pumpkin. And this is my path, which I cannot walk through. So I'm gonna do something naughty, you guys, and I'm gonna walk through my nice bed. We'll go back down this side. And I'm sure some of you who may have been very quietly chastising me for not pruning my tomatoes will be so happy and proud of me now, because look at that. You can see all the way through to the other side. All the tomatoes have been pruned and are doing great. Here's my paste tomatoes. They're looking good. Got flowers on some of them still. Just walked through a spider web. Knew that was going to happen at least once. And here are my grape tomatoes. Starting to ripen up. Not quite ready yet. I mean, of course I could pick them now. They will continue to ripen off the vine, but there's really no reason to with the weather we're having to do that. This is a carpet of purslane down here on the bottom. Looks like my little welcome alien's taking a nap. So we've got 2 rows of tomatoes here. And here in this bed we've got the Greek oregano and the hyssop and the thyme. This is the self-heal, what it looks like when you grow it in your, just plain in your garden. It gets huge. There's some feverfew volunteers. The marjoram, that has gone to seed. This is where my lettuce was. It all bolted and went to the chickens. What I didn't eat of it. Oh, check out, I just want to show you one more on my tomato. Look how big that paste tomato is. I think I might actually get some tomato sauce this year, you guys. Here is the parsley. I have already harvested this whole entire patch down to the ground and it's already grown completely back. And this is just weeds. All the weeds. This is the bed that I harvested this morning. This was Yukon Golds. Excuse me. This was Yukon Golds. And I think before we go down there, I'm going to take you down here. It's just a little bit difficult to maneuver. It's like this grass is so high. This is Mexican tarragon here with the beautiful yellow flowers. And then this is purslane that's growing upright as opposed to like a carpet, which is totally fine. We have savory and sheep sorrel down here. Looks like a big weed pile, but it's medicinal. This is my basil, which I never ended up harvesting because it looks so weird. I mean, it smells right, but it looks funny. There's no reason not to harvest it, you guys. I'm just weird. Look how tall the purslane got. Like, this is my hand. It's very tall. I don't think I've ever seen it grow quite that tall before. This is where my dill was. I've harvested it all. And this is a potato volunteer situation down here. And there's clearly an animal going to town. I've just let them do it. All those feverfew volunteers over there. These are my onions, my big storage onions. And see, they're the whole size of my hand. They're not done yet though. They're getting there. When the stalks fall over, it'll be time to harvest them. And that's all that's down there, is onions and feverfew volunteers. Let's head back towards the front of the garden. I'll show you the last bed. This is my last patch of potatoes. And I'm saving it so my youngest daughter can come and harvest with me. And you know your potatoes are ready to harvest when everything dies back like that. And you can leave them in the ground. You know, you don't have to harvest them in August. I do because I have voles and I want to make sure to get the most of my crop. If you leave them in there, even the tiniest little piece of a potato, you'll get a volunteer next year, or 2 or 12 or 8.5 gallons worth. Hey, we've got skullcap here. There is some more oregano in the back. I can't even get back there. There's another jalapeno back there too. These are calendula volunteers. In order for me to get back there, which I will eventually have to do, I think it'll just be after I finish this. Then I can clear out some of those vines. I don't really like to mess with the grapevines until after harvesting the grapes, but we'll see what happens. This is all anise hyssop. There are other things growing in this little patch right here, by the way. I think there's some savory in there. I don't know, I can't see what all's in there. And these are the flowers. They are so pretty. This plant smells like licorice, you guys. It's very lovely. And more jalapenos. I'll give you a quick overview. And then I will show you the bergamot flowers and my potatoes. I can talk to you about curing potatoes since it's potato harvest season. I do have a video about that I can link up for you later on when we're talking about them, in case you want to know more than what I share today. Here is my experimental front yard area. The pumpkins are doing great. Not as great as the ones in the garden, but keep in mind that I didn't fertilize out here. And I'm also not regularly watering, but we do have pumpkins growing and lots of beautiful flowers. We'll see how this eventually turns out. And then over here we have cucumbers. They are growing. They're a little stunted, I would say. I mean, look how little this plant is. It's not really doing much. But there are cucumbers growing, and I have had some, and they're good. Here's the others. Definitely could be using some fertilizer, but this was just an experiment. Here's the tomato plants. They're flowering and they are growing nicely. This one doesn't look as happy, but I didn't expect them to do even this much, so kind of happy about it. And then over here I wanted to show you the bergamot flowers. Looks like these are almost done, but they're still stunning. Last but not least, here are my potatoes that are curing. I would venture to say that we do in fact have a 2-year supply. I was gonna link up my potato harvesting and curing video, but I previewed it and I was so annoying. I said so many times, I annoyed myself. I'll just tell you how to cure the potatoes. I already went over how to harvest them while we were out in the garden. You wanna lay them flat and you wanna cure them for at least 10 days. Mine are gonna be in there a lot longer than that. If you're gonna do it for 10 days, then flip them over after 5 days so that the other side of the skin can get a little bit hardened up. That's really what the curing process is. It gets the skin hardened up and prepared for storage. I'm not going to store my Yukons. I'm going to can most of them, and I'm also going to batch cook some hash browns. That's the basics on how to cure potatoes. I will spare you sending you over to that other video. There's really not much more to it. I don't store my Yukons. They don't store well. I've tried all the methods. I don't have a root cellar, so I can mine and they taste delicious. That is it for my August garden tour. Let me know down in the comments how your garden is growing, what you guys are up to, what you think of the video, what you think I should do next. I am going to make a whole bunch more pickle type stuff, and I may or may not film it for you. I did the dill pickle recipe for you because I don't think I had one, or I didn't have a good one. And I think I might do a sweet pickle, a bread and butter pickles for you, because that was the second video I ever filmed. And even I hate to watch my older videos. I am not a natural at this, and when I first started, I was really bad, and I don't want to torture you. Anyway, that's enough for me for today. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will be seeing you soon. Bye!